Kenny and Debbie Butler were among the first people to be diagnosed with the coronavirus in Sumter County, Florida. Kenny won his battle against the virus, but his beloved wife Debbie did not. Just 6 days after she passed away, Kenny decided to turn his pain into purpose, and he became a COVID-19 convalescent plasma donor. Our cameras were there as he made the very emotional and personal donation in his wife's honor, a donation he hopes will inspire others.
It's a war.
As his emotions take over,
I got a lot invested in this. I paid a dear price.
It's clear that Kenny Butler's plasma donation is coming from the heart.
And I think that drove me here.
As he donates, there's only one person on his mind.
I had these shirts made up when I first met her. It was love at first sight for me, and there was no doubt.
Decades have passed and the words are fading, but Kenny's love for his wife Debbie is crystal clear.
When we got married, she says, I'm a travelaholic and I've been to all the cheap places.
Over the years, Kenny and Debbie traveled the world together. Their latest adventure was a cruise, but when they returned home, both became ill and both tested positive for the coronavirus.
When she starts coughing, it becomes kind of a more prolonged cough. It's almost like when she coughs like she's got a broken rib. And I said, we ought to go to the ER. And I actually escorted her into the biohazard room, and they said, go out to the car.
After waiting 2 hours, Kenny was told they needed to rush Debbie to another hospital.
I was shocked. I said, well, can I see her? And they said, no, you can't. You can't see her. And I didn't know if I could drive home. Because I didn't know if I'd ever see her again.
Debbie was put on a ventilator, and a few days later, Kenny had to confront the reality that the virus was taking hold.
I asked the nurse, I said, would you give her a message for me? Tell her that I love her and this romance isn't over. And I'll see her on the other side. And so that's why I'm here. I gotta do this. We gotta get the word out. There's no doubt about this. That's why I wore it today. Everybody that's a survivor, step up.
Kenny turning his heartache into hope, and no doubt leaving a lasting impression on all of us.
You can look back on your life and you can see those big points. And this is a big point. I hope you guys remember it too. You're part of the solution.
His spirit is actually what's going to make me remember all of this. His story, his spirit, himself is what's going to make me remember this. I do this every day, but he was a special donor.
This donation will stay in my memory forever. Every donation is important, but this one really brought something out of me.
I'm happy that I did this. I'm happy that we found a way. I'm happy we can encourage other people to do that. And we save lives in addition to that. That's the icing on the cake. Oh my.